in there. All right, folks, we are in, I'm going to move you over here. We are in week 7. Week 7 is the entirety of our drama unit. In our course readings, we are here in the drama unit readings, and those readings include The Death of a Salesman text, which you will need to read and find quotes from. And then there's The Death of a Salesman movie, which is a 1980s, I think sometime in the 1980s, 90s production of Death of a Salesman, a really famous film of a really famous play. I want you to engage with both of these by Wednesday, please. Okay. We are in week 7, and I have opened parts 1 and part 2 so that you can work at your own pace and as quick a pace as you can manage this week, because we do have, I want you to look ahead, on Sunday, a major assignment due, the drama character analysis. Okay. All right, that's going to be a 5-paragraph essay, just like your poetry essay was. It does not require any research. It's a close reading of the text, and we'll go back over what it is in particular. This tells you what the drama is. I did put in a literary terms list. It's not a ton of terms. Make sure you can see them. I have suggested that you get this list in front of you while you watch the video that defines these terms. Okay, so there's just a few terms this time. Act and scene, which is how it's organized rather than by chapter or by verse, like with poems. It was by verses. And with short stories or novels, it's by chapter. Here we are organized by act and scene, and those are units of action. The protagonist and antagonist are the person you're rooting for and the person who gets in the protagonist's way and makes things harder for them. We also have main character and supporting characters, and those are the same as from our short story unit. I'm not sure if the woman who does our video goes over main character and supporting characters in a lot of detail or not, but those are the same as for a short story. She goes over dialogue, monologue, soliloquy, and aside nice and carefully for you. Those are different ways of talking in a play. Those are talking about dramatic speech and how dramatic speech is talked about. And then she talks about stage directions, which we talked about briefly. Stage directions replace the narration that you would see in a short story with directions for the director of the play to know how things should look or work, as well as to direct the actors in what to do. Props are small items that the characters might have in their hands. Lines are the lines that a character speaks, and then she talks some about dramatic irony. So I'm going to go ahead and close that, and make sure you watch this literary terms video. Don't just watch it through the definitions. I'd really like you to watch it all the way through while she shows you how to apply these terms, because you might end up needing to apply them in your final exam, which is coming up next week. You do have a quiz on drama and Death of a Salesman that is due on Wednesday. Francisco, I changed the due date for you there. And you have a discussion board where your initial post is due Wednesday and your responses are due on Sunday. And this gets you started thinking about the character analysis that we're working on. We have the character analysis outline, and there is a sample outline here that we went over in the first half of class. A quick set of reminders. This is your thesis statement number 1, and your thesis statement needs to be about a change that one character makes by the end of the play. So again, we want to look at this model. The character becomes more mature, loses faith, becomes more cynical, becomes less selfish. And I chose becomes less selfish for my thesis statement in this sample. And then your A, B, and C are your body paragraphs for this essay, and in planning them out, your first paragraph should be about about showing your reader with quotes from the text about how your character behaves at the beginning before they change. Your second paragraph should be talking about the pivotal scene where you think the character does the most changing, where the change that you're seeing really takes effect for that character. And then your third paragraph should be how that character appears at the end of the play, and that's the one where you want to show that the change that you've observed has taken effect. And again, you are using quotes from the play to handle that. Now, on Wednesday, we're going to talk about quoting and citing poetry in some detail. So don't fuss about quoting from it yet. I'll teach you how to do that on Wednesday. And then your conclusion should be, once again, harking back to that thesis statement that should be about the change. Now, remember, if you think a character has been stable throughout the play, that's not a thesis about character development. So don't pick that character. If you think a character remains static or steady, that's not going to make a good thesis. Yours needs to be about how that character has changed. And it doesn't need to be Willy Loman. It can be Linda or Biff or Happy as well. As a matter of fact, some of the best ones that I've seen have been about the wife or sons of Willy Loman. All right, so that is our assignment that is due Wednesday night. And I am going to preview what's happening in the second part of the week. We have a quoting and citing drama handout and a tutorial. So if you want to get ahead, you can watch that drama tutorial and read the handout and get ahead. Okay, I'm going to work with you on this on Wednesday of next week. And so if you have questions about it, definitely let me know. You'll need to use Criterion again this week, and that major assignment is due at the end of the week. The reason this is due this week instead of next week, I'm going to go ahead and leave this hidden, but I'm going to open it for you, is that next week is our last week. We have Monday and Wednesday. Wednesday will be our exit exam, and Monday will be cleaning up from all of that and preparing for it and talking about how to succeed on it and all of that stuff, okay? So Monday in class, we're going to be talking about what the exam is and how to handle it. So we'll go over the information about the final exam. Student evaluations will be due. There's a link to your student evaluations, and then there's a quiz for confirming your completed evaluations. I don't need that. I'm actually going to delete these now while I'm thinking about it. Delete. Yes. And delete. I don't need to see your summer registration right now. That's for the not for a mini term. All right. And then there's also an assignment coming up next week where you can revise an essay, whether it's the drama essay or the poetry essay or the short story essay. You have an opportunity to revise it. Now, strategically speaking, your short story essay is worth 200 points. So even if you got a B on that and you got a D on your poetry essay, you would get more points from turning the B into an A than you would turning the D into a C, because the poetry essay is worth 200 points, and the poetry essay is worth 100 points, and the other is worth 200 points. So my advice was, if you're going to choose one of them to revise, you'd get the most points by revising the short story essay. This also will allow you, this extra week's time will allow you, if something was late, to get it in for that late grade. And just kind of, so that last week is for hit and cleanup in case something needs to be revised or turned in late, okay? All right, I'm going to stop the recording now, and then I'm going to take questions.